You are watching Midnight Movie Talk Live here from Los Angeles on this Sunday night. It is Box Office Bonanza, and I am Eric Weber, and we're talking about what's going on. And let me tell you right now, we are back, and we are fully engaged with box office, and theatrical is on fire right now. We've been saying this for weeks, and it's proven itself yet again with another film going above and beyond what the quote experts thought it would do, because we're still in the quote pandemic era. No, we are not. The pandemic era is over. OVER. Okay, there it is. It's over. Read the screen. Let's look here. And this is right off the bat. I pull up the Hollywood Reporter. Hey, let's have a look and see how they wrote this up with Minions at this 108.5 million for 3 days. About 128 for the 4-day, because, of course, tomorrow is July 4th, which means everybody is off and they will go to see movies and see fireworks and see movies and fireworks. So when you have 128, it'll probably go higher than that, because that is an estimate from Universal, who put this film out. But look here, we scroll down, we're like 108 for 3 days, blah, 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 blah. Forget about breaking pandemic era records. It's like, when are these people going to finally say, it's no longer a pandemic? One more time, here it is. Read the screen. The pandemic era is OVER. It is over. You do not have a record July 4th opening. This is a record for Minions, The Rise of Gru, right? The biggest opening ever, 4th of July. And you're telling me we're still, quote, pandemic era? Okay, so would normal be like 216 million? So roll down, and instantly they had to bring up Lightyear. Remember, Lightyear did 51 opening, and so this has already done more in 3 days. It's done 2 times plus what Lightyear did in 3 weeks, in 3 days, Minions, at 108.5. And again, about 128 or higher for the 4-day. And it still talks about families. Were they coming back to the multiplex? They've been coming back to the multiplex. Here's the reason that families do not go to the multiplex. You got to give them a reason. If we had Turning Red in this marketplace a couple of months ago, whatever, at least 2 months, it's 3 months now, if you would have put that instead of Disney Plus in the theaters, that opens with 30 plus easy. I think it's 40 higher. I mean, look at the Bad Guys at 25. Turning Red, Pixar, can easily get to 35, 40, 50. So listen, it's there. You just got to give people a reason to come. I mean, people aren't just going to come to the movie theater to see garbage, like a movie I'm going to talk about here momentarily, the worst film of 2022. I sat through. I had the very extreme misfortune of sitting through this film last night. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But you have to give people a reason to come to the multiplex. If you don't, then they're not going to show up. Minions, Rise of Gru proves that a lot of people just want escapism and very little political statements in their cartoons, right? When we talk about Lightyear, we know why that film did not perform like we thought it should, because a lot of people were turned off by the elements in play within that film, and one of the biggest was Tim Allen getting booted for Chris Evans. That is indisputable, okay? That was huge. But when we, again, talk about this, the pandemic era over, and more proof of this, Maverick is still holding in there. I mean, look at this. It is down minus 14%. I mean, how is that even possible to continue to do these numbers where it's just generating the same number every weekend? 25.5 million again this weekend for 3 days. I mean, now you're looking at almost 600 million. It's at 1.1 billion worldwide. 1.1 billion. So again, the marketplace is normal. It is over. The pandemic era, goodbye. Good to meet you, and we're glad to see you go. Okay? Actually, it was never good to meet them. Get out of here. It's gone. So now we are looking at a really strong box office, and you look again, another element, Elvis, down 39%. It holds extremely well. All of these films are holding or opening big, which leads us to our next topic. Thor, Love and Thunder, on the heels of Minions at 108.5 for 3. No chance this movie is less than 175. I think it goes above and beyond Doctor Strange 2. Let's pull up the Marvel box office openings, and I'm going to show you where I think, and as the week goes on, we're going to talk more and more about this, but I think tonight, just to set the stage with what we expect to happen this weekend. Here are the biggest openings for Marvel. 1, Endgame. 2, No Way Home. Even though it's Sony, it's still MCU. Infinity War. 3, Avengers 4. Now we're getting into the range where Thor can get in there. So 207 for Avengers. Black Panther is number 5 at 202. Then Ultron, 191. And then Doctor Strange right there in the 7 spot, or is that 8? At 187. So listen, here's the thing. If it gets to 175, it's going to be right there in the top 10 openings. Now, can it get higher? Absolutely, because everything is lining up perfectly for this film. I don't want to get too far into it. I just want to lay the groundwork right now to tell you that Thor Love and Thunder will outperform, just like every film has done of late, including obviously Top Gun Maverick. And then forget Lightyear. We know what happened with that. Minions, Elvis, The Black Phone, all these all these movies are doing great. And the reason is because you're giving people a reason to come to the movie theater. They're excited to come. So as such, right now, we're looking at an electrifying box office, and Thor is in the perfect situation. Hit me with comments. Let's talk about that. Here's the worst film of 2022. So last night, I'm going through my AMC A list, by the way, the best investment you can make. If I ever get sponsored by AMC A-List, how smooth was that transition? It was like you didn't even know I was throwing an ad at you, okay? AMC A-List, $24 a month for 12 movies, 3 per week. So I looked at my app, and I'm like, oh my God, I have an extra movie to go see this week. Let me look through the A-List now playing, right? You hit the tab, there's now playing, there's coming soon. And I look through, and I'm like, what the hell is this movie? They're Forgiven. I'm like, well, I'm sorry, I don't even know. Ray Fiennes and Jessica Chastain. Where did this movie come from? And how did I miss this movie the first time around? And then I realized a couple of things. One, it's from Roadside Attractions / Vertical Entertainment. These are 2 very small distributors, right? Roadside Attractions has had a few hits. Like Judy was a Roadside Attractions. They've had some award success. But listen, it's really, you're going far down the pole when you start talking about Roadside Attractions and certainly Vertical. But there's a reason when you see this movie, okay, first of all, I got to pull up the Rotten Tomatoes. So I go and sit with Paul, my good friend here, movie Twitter buddy, and he is he's a really great friend, and he goes to a ton of movies with me. So here's the thing. So as you sit here and you look at this and you watch this film and you see a director who is way in over his head. I mean, this is a film that's very hard to pull off. The tone of this film is just one of those things that is not easy to accomplish. It's very difficult to, I think I just lost my screen. Let's pull it up to a single. When you make a film that is trying to balance some kind of dark comedy with super heavy drama, you have to have the ability of a director. You have to have an amazing, almost next level, elite level, as we like to say here on Midnight Movie Talk, ability to blend together different tones so that you get a film that is very, listen, it's got to be balanced. And when you're going to try to do those 2 things, you have to be very skilled as a director. So when you go into The Forgiven and you see what this director's trying to do and then what actually happens, you're just at the point where you're like, this is not working. This is not going to happen. And I feel horrendously bad for both Ray Fiennes and Jessica Chastain, who are extremely talented actors. That said, I think we need to talk about Jessica Chastain for a moment. Jessica Chastain is in this situation where I feel like at times we're watching some performances from her that are not the best, right? You just look and you say to yourself, I don't know if that's great. And I think that's an issue here when you watch this film. So here's the thing. I said, what's the Rotten Tomatoes score on the Forgiven? There's no way this is above a 25% rotten. There's no chance this is 25% or higher. It is clearly rotten because it is an absolute shit show of a film tonally, and it's just truly the worst film I've seen this year. And then when you go to Rotten Tomatoes, let's see if I can pull this up. My computer's acting funky tonight. Come on, computer, work for me. So here's the thing. I go and I look and I go, what do I see? I see 64%. 64%, which is insane to have a number that high. Okay. It's literally like, this is a film. I can't believe the people who watched this film a- gave it 64%. Some of the critics giving it 3.5 stars out of 4, which is like literally insane. The tabs aren't sharing. I want to talk about the worst film of the year, The Forgiven, and box office tonight, as my tabs are not sharing like I want them to. But let's go to the comments right now. Good evening to you. Thank you for watching here on Midnight Movie Talk. Yes, I can see YouTube chat. I've got you here. I've got you on via Naim, I believe. Thank you for joining the channel, by the way. Yeah, I can see you guys. I'm using StreamYard, so I can see everything you guys have to say. Hey, Ricky, what's up, buddy? Can people stop talking pandemic stuff? Let's talk about this. I love you bringing it up, Ricky. Here's the situation. When are people going to stop? When are we going to say, that's it? We don't need to talk about pandemic era. We don't need to talk about COVID 24/7. Have you guys noticed? Okay, this is going to get a little political, and it's okay. I have no problem doing this because I just feel like we need to start having these conversations. When are we going to be stopped being shoved constantly, messaged COVID, 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 right? Go read any major media outlet. You're going to see COVID stories. On your tab on Twitter, you're going to see the latest on COVID updates. What if I don't want to talk about COVID? What if I want to live my life without thinking about COVID? That's not suggesting it doesn't exist. That's not suggesting that for some people it's a big deal. But for me, I don't want to be messaged 24 hours a day about COVID. We've done it for 2 years. I don't know when it ends, Ricky. I have no idea when it ends, the pandemic era, but I can tell you, I'm done with it. I don't live my life anymore like first of all, I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. I never, over the past 2 years, really changed how I live. Okay, like I'm talking it all. And when I tell you that, then I go to the gym, I go play volleyball, I go ride my bike around, whatever I do. And I've worn a mask when I was told to wear a mask. Somehow, here tonight, I'm with you and I'm talking to you. I'm alive. So I suggest that we all just get past this. But for some people, they don't want to. And the media just seems to be relentless about holding on to this pandemic era. And at this point, it really is just like, why are we still talking about this? It's not that it's not real. It's that we're done and we don't need to be told all the time. In truth, when you see a marketplace that's doing the numbers it's doing, what's the pandemic era? Where I don't see it. So if I don't see it in the numbers and the people at the multiplex, when I go to the movies, like last night, packed, Friday night, pictures sent to me, packed, Thursday, slammed for Minions opening night. So what exactly is the pandemic era if we're still calling it that, when everyone's out doing what they used to do, like in 2019 and every year before that? So that's the issue I have with that. Okay. So I don't know when that happens. But Ricky, I'm with you on that 100%. Aaliyah, good evening to you. Scott Mendelson recently tweeted, I think the era of the COVID curve box office punditry is over. People are beginning to join your chorus. We started it here, okay, guys? I know we got a small band of like-minded, smart people, okay? You guys are literally the smartest audience out there. I put you head-to-head with anybody. Here's the reality of it, is that we call it first. We're almost always right, okay? Like really like a 990 something batting average, okay? Because you see what's happening in the world, and then you can easily project what you see with your eyes, not what you're being told, with your eyes, okay? What you're seeing in the world. If you see something, then it's real. You don't need to be told this and that. You can see it. And when I see people everywhere going to movies, then I know that a movie's going to do really well and it's going to outperform. And this weekend, Thor: Love and Thunder is in a perfect spot, okay? We have not had a major film in a few weeks now. I mean, if you really want to go back to, it's Maverick. Now, Maverick's still holding on, but I mean, it's not holding on at like 100 million a weekend. We have not had a major film that's a 4-quad film. Dominion, yes, but again, still not as big as it should have been. We're ready to pop with another huge Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, 190 million plus weekend. Thor: Love and Thunder, and you guys know my thoughts on this. The review embargo is up on Tuesday. I will drill down deep on the film without any spoilers. I really like Thor: Love and Thunder. Saw it last Wednesday. So knowing that this is a film that the average moviegoer is going to love, I am very confident in saying that Thor: Love and Thunder will outperform and put a very sizable, substantial number up this coming weekend, because it has the goods. Everyone's going to like it. It's going to get word of mouth, and it's in a perfect spot. We've not had a major, massive film in the multiplex that sucked all the oxygen out of the multiplex in weeks. I mean, Minions at 108, it's good, but it's a lot of families. Thor is going to appeal to obviously a little bit older, okay, but there's a lot of kind of quasi like late teens that went to go see this Minions because they grew up with Despicable Me. So that was an interesting thing people did not really see happening. But Thor 4 quad, it's ready to pop. It's going to do a huge number. I can't wait to see it. And 100% I'm with you. 180, 200 million easy for Thor. I think it's at least 190 plus. I think it beats Doctor Strange 2 over the long haul. It's $1 billion film worldwide. Okay, even without China and without Russia, I think it can get to $1 billion because the film is that strong. I can't wait to see it again. I have to wait till next Thursday to see it, but I'm very much ready to see this. To see this film, and I'm with you 100%, Ricky. Trey, good evening to you. Are you familiar with the Criterion Channel? Yes, I do not have the Criterion Channel. I do not watch it, but I am familiar with it. I know a lot of people love Criterion, but for me, it's like I go back and I watch some films multiple times, like Firestarter. I mean, come on, Firestarter, future classic, and I'm gonna go see The Forgiven again. But a lot of times I don't want to watch movies over and over unless it's The Social Network, unless it's Drive, unless it's something that's just like imprinted in my soul. But otherwise, yeah, I know it's huge. I know it's a big deal. Gone Girl, good evening to you. Minions 2 for the win. 5 films, over 100 million opening weekend this year. Movies are back. 100% we're back. And the reality is the pandemic era is over. One more time. I just want to leave this up for like the entire time. It's over. Okay. I don't care what the media tells you. I don't care what other people and articles and Hollywood Reporter and Deadline and Variety. The bottom line is the numbers tell me that the pandemic era is over. Restaurants are packed. People are out. I was just out down in Orange County today. The beaches were slammed. Okay. Nobody is living with any semblance of fear anymore. Okay. And that goes everywhere, right? Not just there. It goes to the multiplex. It goes to, wherever you go and go out to a restaurant, any kind of major nightlife area, it's packed because that people have returned to reality. So it's over. Pandemic era, done. It's just stop talking about the pandemic era. I feel like it's almost like they don't know what else to talk about. Sometimes you just say, I'm going to keep talking, drill down. You're like, listen, let's move on. Let's move on. David, good evening to you. I did not watch Flux Gourmet, but thank you for reminding me. I do need to check it out. I love In Fabric, same director, Peter Strickland, because In Fabric direction is just mint. First half of that film was lights out. And then I think the second half is not as strong as the first, but the direction by Strickland makes me really want to watch Flux Gourmet. But again, I know that's a very niche film, okay? But I have a feeling I'm going to like Flux Gourmet a lot more than Crimes of the Future or Men, okay? That's a good question. Which is worse, Crimes of the Future or The Forgiven? That's really hard. I just called it the worst film. I would much rather sit through The Forgiven again than Crimes of the Future. Okay, listen, at least The Forgiven is watchable, but it's the perfect example. I want you to guys go see The Forgiven. It's going to be in theaters for like 3 more days and it'll be gone. You need to see the film because it is the literally textbook example of a director who's in over his head when it comes to writing and directing and managing tone. He did all of these things, okay? It's a guy whose last movie, I believe, was Calvary back in 2014. When you watch a director who's unable to really get it all together when it comes to tone in a film, and you know who pays the price? Chastain and Ray Fiennes. Ray Fiennes is really strong in the film, I think, for what it is. When isn't he? But you watch and you're like, poor Ray Fiennes, that he's stuck in this film, which is just, he gave his soul to this director, and it's a really bad film. And then you look at Chastain, same thing, and you just say, wow, you guys signed on for something. I don't know what you read in the script. On page, it might have been, oh, this is really going to work. It's one of those films that either was really going to work or is really not going to work. But the fact that it is at 64% positive, fresh, that film, if you recommend The Forgiven, you have lost all trust with your audience forever. I mean, I don't think you can ever come back for it. That's what we talked about last night. I came out with my friend Paul, again, Academy Picks on Twitter. Follow him, he's great. Good friend. And we came out and we couldn't believe that these reviewers had this film at 64% and like 3.5 stars out of 4 for The Forgiven. Wow, that is a choice to do that for sure. JT, can't wait to see Thor: Love and Thunder. You're going to really like the film. The chances of you whoever's out there listening to my voice right now, the chances of you not liking Thor Love and Thunder is very low. Okay. It's going to be shades of like all the way up to really like. That's how I see this. Doctor Strange, I saw as a mid, right? You had people that were not going to like it, some people who liked it. So it was lower. The whole thing's tilted down. When you look at Thor Love and Thunder, the whole thing's tilted up. So you have literally everything's going to go rise from good to great, good to great. I'd say Doctor Strange 2 is more like average to not great. I mean, anyone who says Doctor Strange is a great film, you're going to think Thor Love and Thunder is Academy Award material. I mean, there's no question about it. Superhero movies, good evening to you. About a week ago, I saw some people blatantly laughing at someone wearing a mask outside. Most of you are still over it. I mean, if you want to do that, that's fine. I mean, I'm not going to say it's okay to like, oh, someone has a mask on, but I that's not what this is. Okay, what I'm saying is that I think I have no problem. I just like choice. I just really want choice. If someone wants to, go ahead. If someone doesn't, go ahead. I don't need to be all up in your face saying you have to do this, you got to do that. I mean, come on, really? I just don't like that. Don't micromanage other people. Stay in your lane. Take the precautions you need to take, and then let people live the way they want to live. Okay. It's just, and again, I don't want to talk about COVID all day. If someone was talking about COVID, I'm like, okay, I got to zone out. I can't do this. And no one really I know does. That's why I wouldn't hang out with them if they did, if it was constantly COVID talk all day. JT, Minions Rise of Gru is going to hold on for the box office a few weeks. Paws of Fury going to flop. I agree 100%. Paws of Fury is in big trouble because it looks, come on. I mean, does that look like a movie you really want to see? I mean, I sat through Minions. It's 90 minutes. It's solid enough. Is it great? No, but it's also not horrendous. But I also grew up with Despicable Me. It's a franchise we've had for 10 plus years. With Paws of Fury, you're looking at this going, what is this Blazing Saddles animation ripoff? And I just say, I don't want to see this film. Like, I don't want to watch it unless I hear that it is riotous, which if you consider like eating beans and farting, the height of comedy, then maybe you'll like Paws of Fury. For me, I want a little bit more elevated humor. And same thing with DC League of Super Pets. These are two like just rough looking animated films. I did not mean to say rough as in dog. That would be horrible, and I would expect you to absolutely tune out the second I said that. That was a non-intended. It's going to be two rough films, and I think financially, box office wise, they're going to struggle as well. I mean, what's the audience other than little kids for that? It just doesn't make sense for me. Superhero movies again. The Black Phone 76, Dominion 828, Maverick 1.1. Thank you for doing this work for me. I have it. You've done it all for me. Minions 221 worldwide. These are worldwide totals, by the way. Lightyear, 189. Thank you for bringing up Lightyear. It's absolutely over. And listen, here's the reality. We talked about it so many times. Let's talk one more time because I know it's a topic that a lot of people don't really seem to want to admit what the truth is about Lightyear. Lightyear is a massive failure. Okay, it is under its budget worldwide right now at 188, 189, whatever the number is. It is under its $200 million budget. Now remember, that is not all that money that it made. Some of that goes to the theaters, okay? So that Disney didn't get all that cash. Plus, remember all the advertising that they had to spend for Lightyear. Tons of cash spent to market the film. All of that adds to the 200. This film is going to lose so much money for Disney. And the reason it failed is because a substantial segment of the audience did not like the messages that it was sending. Now, you can disagree with that audience. That's not what we're just talking about why it failed. You can say, well, those people are dumb. That's fine, or whatever. They're misguided, or they're whatever you want to call them. But at the end of the day, from a business standpoint, it still means that there were a lot of people who might have gone that were alienated by the film. And I think it really, for me, if I had one thing to say about Lightyear, the number one problem with that film, forget all the politics, this and that. Well, actually, it does involve politics. It is Tim Allen. It is Tim Allen. I am certain that if you have Tim Allen as Buzz, forget the politics, forget what he does off screen, just Tim Allen as Buzz, that film does much better. I think it's a much higher number because you alienated a huge portion of the audience by getting rid of him and installing Chris Evans. Not about Chris Evans, it's about getting rid of Tim Allen, right? You guys know the difference. I'm not saying it was a downgrade. I'm saying it was a thing that people didn't love. So therefore, it was a situation where Tim Allen getting rid of his voice, that is what hurt that film the most. That's the number one reason Lightyear failed. I'm telling you right now. And again, what did I tell you? The batting average here is like 997. So I have a .003 8% chance of missing that. Gone Girl. Dune worked really well with the October release and won 6 Oscars. Is moving it to November really change it much for award season? We talked about this on Thursday. Let's do it again. When you slide a movie just a month, you're talking about a situation where now it's really, truly, purely within the awards window. Now, when we talk about the Oscar window, awards window, you want a film to debut as late into the calendar year as possible without going too late. Because if you go too late, you don't give voters enough time to get their ballots together. You really want to get your film in there so it starts to show up in critics lists and all that, so it gets some momentum. So you really want that film to debut like A Nightmare Alley was really late last year. That was November, okay? So Dune will be, again, same thing. It'll probably debut I could see it debut at Venice, certainly Toronto, and that would be September, and then we get to see it in November. If not, they might just hold it for a release in early November, like a world premiere, and they don't do any festival action. I have no problem with that either. But what you do is by sliding it just slightly into the awards window, you are now really at ideal peak positioning when you try to market your film to awards people and certainly to Oscars voters, because it feels fresh. You don't want a film that feels stale, feels old. That's going to be the challenge for all these films we're talking about as the best films of the year so far. By the way, Tuesday night, I'm going to unveil my top 10 films of 2022 thus far, okay? All 10, and they're all great films. That'll be coming up on Tuesday. But as we look back at a film that, benefited by coming in late, I would say Nightmare Alley, because it got that nomination. It got that number 10 Best Picture nomination, and it felt fresh. But there is a danger if you go too late. I think Dune benefits just a little bit. I'm not saying it's going to change the universe. Like I said, it won 6 Oscars. And if it does better than that, which I think it will, because it's the conclusion of the story, a lot of people said, well, we can't vote this as the best film of the year. It's only half a film. It's the first half. I'm like, well, who cares? It's great. It's really, truly elite filmmaking. And everything about that film is just what I want to go see when I go see cinema. Why can't we say it's the best film of the year? And we did. Sunset Circle. Our awards group gave it the best film of the year. I think it's easily, for me, the number one film of 2021. So now I'm looking forward to this next year, obviously with Dune 2. I think it's got a huge awards. 6+ easy. The first one got 6. Why can't this one be at like 10? But I think that helps. That window helps. That slide just helps a little bit, just enough. Okay, it might not be the difference between 7 and 8 Oscars or 9 and 10 Oscars, but it just I like it a little bit better. Superhero movies again. Eric, halfway through the year now, what order would you put these movies in? Oh, you're making me do Tuesday night now, but I'll help you out. I'll give you a little tease. Thor 4, Elvis, Death on the Nile, Batman X Maverick. Okay, here we go. Let's put them in order right now. Number 1 for me is Maverick, no question about it. Top Gun Maverick is the number 1 film of 2022 for me. And then for me, remember, I love direction. Okay, direction for me, technical direction and choices from a directorial standpoint that are artistically interesting are always going to be graded extremely high for me, which gives me X at number 2. Maverick 1, X number 2. And then I'm going to go, it's really a tie at this point. I would actually put, I really would put these all about the same as far as the grading. I'll be honest with you. The Batman, Elvis, and Thor 4, I would have all of those graded out at about a 9. Batman, I think I had a little bit higher on a score when I first saw it, but I think now I bring it down just a slight bit because, again, I have some issues with the end of that film, the final act. That said, I'd have all those ranked. I have Death on the Nile farther back. I didn't hate Death on the Nile, but I didn't love some of the choices by the direction. Obviously, when you look at what he did with Belfast, with Branagh, and what he did with Belfast, and you look at Death on the Nile, I go, I don't see the same. I think Belfast is a better directed film than Death on the Nile. So Death on the Nile would be the last place one. But listen, I just said I had Thor 4, Elvis, and the Batman all ranked the same at about a 9. Maverick would be a 9.5, almost a 10. And X would be a 9.5 for direction for sure. So I would overvalue X from a directorial standpoint, which I tend to do, and that would slide it up. So, can you believe I have X as the number 2 movie of the year? I'll give you the rest of my top 10. It's going to be fun. Going to piggyback off of Superhero's comment. What are your top 5 movies of the year so far? Those are okay, let's save this for Tuesday. I'm going to just say this. The top 3, I'll give it away. You guys are watching here on Sunday night. Very simple. You guys know it's Maverick. It's X. And then I would say my number 3 film right now, I remember we have that tie of Elvis, and we have the Batman, and then we also have Thor. I think all of those are probably right there. I mean, it would almost be like a number three place tie. There's probably something I'm forgetting in there. Sometimes I tend to you get through this and you go, "Oh my God, what was that? Oh, how did I forget this?" But the top two are simple for me: Maverick 1 and X2. Okay, and again, X. If you have not watched X, Ty West, The Direction. Wow. Okay, just wow. By elimination, how many of these Marvel movies is better than Endgame? Guardians 1, not. None of them are. Okay, first of all, none of them are, because Endgame, remember, Endgame for me is truly the top of the line. I mean, that's my number one MCU film. That said, everything's going to come under that. But if I had to rank the rest of those, remember, I like Guardians because I love direction. I love what James Gunn did with that film. Iron Man 1, Infinity War, I would have those above Winter Soldier. No Way Home would be right up there with Guardians 1. Far From Home, way down. I'm not a fan of Far From Home at all. Okay, so that's really, really low. Doctor Strange 1, above that. Civil War, above Winter Soldier. And then Avengers somewhere in there. That's hard. But I mean, listen, it's Endgame 1 for sure. Guardians is probably 2 for me. And then Iron Man would be 3 just because of the kicking it off and Robert Downey Jr. and all that. So Endgame's number 1. That'll never change. It's just never going to happen. Although Thor's way up there. Thank you. Thor Love and Thunder is way up there on my list. I really like this film. I want to watch it again. I can't wait to see it Thursday. But again, initial reactions usually pure and true for me. And I think that Thor Love and Thunder is one of the best MCU films for me. It really is fun. It's a blast to watch. And it's really because of Chris Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth is the reason that film, and there's a lot of great things about the film. Chris Hemsworth's comedy, his growth as a comedic actor, not just an actor, comedic actor. He delivers lines that are perfection, and if you have someone else doing it, they're not going to work the way he does. You've seen the trailers. His timing is impeccable. He's great. That is why that film is going way up for me. You said the other day you didn't buy the twist of Gone Girl. Care to elaborate more? Okay. Because, first of all, a number of things I have wrong with Gone Girl. Not you, Gone Girl, Gone Girl, the movie. It's been now, 7 years since I've seen it, so it needs a rewatch. I was not familiar with the book, so I went in blind, not knowing what exactly happened with Gone Girl. I love the dark aspect of Affleck, and did he or did he not kill his wife, right? The Casey Peterson case, right? Very much like that. Okay, but as we looked at that situation, and then all of a sudden, we find out she's alive. You guys have seen the movie. We're not really. As soon as I find out she's alive, she's on the lam, she's like hiding so she can pin it down. It's too sensational. The twist for me doesn't feel dark enough or grounded. I really liked how dark that film was going, and then when it flips, and I just go, I didn't like it. Now, that said, I understand how you did, and a lot of people did. I'm saying for me personally, that's a personal taste. I like my twist to be dark, like not sensational, doesn't feel like it's forced. It feels very real, and I like where that film is going. And then all of a sudden I go, oh my God, what? She's alive? Okay. So that was my problem with the film. I probably need to watch it again. It's been a number of years, but I don't think that's going to change. Also, not a huge fan of Neil Patrick Harris in that role, because as much as I think he's a good actor, this is the same thing I just said about Ethan Hawke in Black Phone. Okay. You could be the best actor in the world, but at the end of the day, if people view you as X, right? If people view you as, let's be honest, Doogie Howser, okay? Some of you didn't grow up with him that way. That's fine. I understand. But for me, when you view someone, you're like, that's Doogie Howser, okay? Whether it's fair or not, that's just how your brain operates. So when you see him in a movie, you're kind of taken out for a moment. You're like, okay, I don't buy the character because all I can see is Neil Patrick Harris playing Doogie Howser because that's who he's identified with. He's basically synonymous with that. Okay, it's kind of like, look at the kid who played Zach from Saved by the Bell, drawn by Mark Paul Gosselaar. He could have been a big actor. He's solid, good-looking kid. He had a solid career. I mean, but he was always with Zach from Saved by the Bell. And I think when you look at Ethan Hawke in The Black Phone, you look at Ethan Hawke, not one particular character, but he's just more of a good guy than a bad guy. And that's why I didn't love him in that role. I didn't think it ruined the film. I just think it's better with Michael Shannon. It's better with dude who I'm never going to be able to say his name right. Dude who played Polka Dot Man in Suicide Squad, the remake. When you get Dalmatian, David, tell me if I said that right, is that I like a weird, interesting choice, and I think both of those are great examples of actors I wouldn't have placed. It's miscast for me personally. It's a miscast. Those are pretty much the reasons. David, again, where do you think men went wrong? uh, First of all, let's just be blunt. I mean, getting made is a good place to start. The fact that they decided to make men, it's it's that bad. I mean, poor Jesse Buckley, very much like The Forgiven, what I just saw. Poor Jessica Chastain and Ray Fiennes, who are in this film, Jesse Buckley and Men, and you're just watching and you're going, I feel for you because you committed to a role and to a film that I can't believe is as bad as it is. And then, you think you're working with a director of major talent. And I still think that with Men, at least in Men's case, certainly not The Forgiven from what I can tell. But when I look at Men and I see it, I'm just like, Alex Garland is better than Men. I just think he got so far up his own ass. Let's just be straightforward. So far up his own ass that the film is borderline unwatchable. Thank God it's short. I mean, can you imagine if Men was like 220 versus, I think was it 135 or something? Feels like it's 220, but if it was actually 220, you'd feel like you're in the theater for like 6 days. Like for a flight from Los Angeles to Tokyo is how long that film would have felt. But it's just Alex Garland's got talent, but as a writer, I think sometimes he's just, again, too far up his own arse. But I don't know how to fix that film. I can't, because she's great. I mean, Jessie Buckley's a really strong actress, but COVID chatter is increasing in your circles because the mask requirement starting again for productions. Yeah, I mean, of course that I just heard about that. It feels like Hollywood doesn't want to let it go. Okay. Here's what I'm gonna do. You know me, I'm a straight shooter. Okay, straight shooter. Let's just expand this out. Okay, so if you're a person who runs a company who's in charge of selling COVID tests, in charge of selling COVID masks, in charge of getting productions to make sure the set is, quote, safe. Okay. Trying to be as non-political as possible here. Do you ever want that to end? If you are making money from this, okay? If you're making money from tests, from masks, from all that stuff, do you ever want COVID to end? Of course you don't. Because you're making cash, like tons of money. Look at productions now. Productions cost I don't know if it's double. I just saw the story. Production costs are soaring now because you have COVID compliance alone. Just start with that. When you have people on your set, and I've been on sets with COVID compliance officers, you have multiple people that you have to pay a salary to, okay? Not just their salary to be on the set. You have to pay their head honcho, the company that is in charge of the COVID compliance. You got to pay them the fee. So you're paying for the hourly rate or the daily rate for the people, then their bosses. Do you think that company that has that installed is ever going to let that go? Think, guys, you got to think. No, of course not. So it's just one of those things that we got to start thinking about this thing. What's the real reason? Okay. I love having these discussions because I am not political. I am as middle of the road as you can get. I think you guys can tell. It's what makes me good at evaluating a film. But the reason is because I'm a Libra. Everything has to be balanced. And I think the world would be better if we operated from that. And you really thought and really use your head and think about things. Why are things happening the way they are? Whatever that is. Okay. That's very important. I think a lot of people just go ahead and say, okay, and just don't think about it. Be a critical thinker. Always ask questions. And then you'll come to an answer and go, wait a second. I see what you're saying. At least be open to the possibility of X. So yeah, I mean, the masks are coming back and all that. But again, I tell you, are they ever going to leave at this point when you're making money off of it? I mean, if I was making millions of dollars off of COVID tests and masks and all this, would I ever want that to leave? Like, ever? Why? You're making money from it. Once you start making money from something, you don't ever want that to leave. Okay. I personally don't live my life through money. Okay. We all need money to do whatever. You obviously have to have a roof over your head. You got to have a car. You got to be able to do the things you want to do and not worry about nickels and dimes. But at the end of the day, I also don't live like every day, wake up and say, man, I wish I had $20 million in the bank. Live your life. I mean, money shouldn't be the end all for everything. But unfortunately, for some people, it is. And if that's the case, then you're operating from a standpoint of people are always doing the right thing, which I try to think, but that's not always the way it is. Unfortunately, I wish it were, but it's not. The cold hard reality is it's not. All right, we just got serious there for a minute. That was fun. Did I see Moonfall? Yes, Moonfall was no, Moonfall 2 is never happening, JT, because the movie was absolutely a colossal bomb. I mean, based on the production budget, that movie was a fortune. It was over 100 million. Was it 150? I forget the number. It's insane what the number was. The final number on that, let me see what it is. The final number of Moonfall was like, I mean, domestic was terrible. Let's see what the worldwide number is. Oh my lord, people. This movie, you talk about losing money. Let's see if it's going to allow me to share a screen now. Come on, let's go. Computer, here we go. Okay, there it is. Moonfall. Look at this here. We've got 44 million worldwide. JT, there is no universe, no chance that Moonfall 2 is ever happening with a total of 44 million worldwide. Look at that. That's it's so sad. No, it's never happening. I didn't think the movie was terrible. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was one of the movies we had when movies were like there's one movie in multiplexes. Moonfall was it. I understand people wanted Tim Allen and Lightyear. Yes, yes, yes. That's the reason number one why the film did not launch. Do you think Pixar should move on from Toy Story? Yes, it's time to move on, create new stories, interesting stories, give me more Inside Outs and fewer Lightyears. Certainly not a Cars 4. I mean, you guys, oh my God. I don't want to go off on Cars 3. I've already done it tonight. I've been super serious. I don't want to do Cars 3 tonight, but I am not a fan of Cars 3, and there's a very major reason why. We'll talk about that another night. I can't do it. I don't have the energy here. We got another about 15 minutes, so get your comments in, and then we're going to wrap this thing tonight. Listen, guys, I love the fact that you're here, and love doing this. Back on Tuesday with the best movies of the year. I saw Maverick twice this weekend. Good Lord. That's like 5 hours of movie right there. Mission Impossible 7 trailer. Okay, you know what? I'm glad right now, superhero movies, you and me, right now, no joke. I'm not even kidding you. Like, I feel like this was meant to happen. I was coming home tonight from Orange County, which is a pretty long drive. It's like an hour. And I'm sitting in my car, and for whatever reason, I'm not kidding, I was thinking about the Mission Impossible 7 trailer. And let me tell you, you are very, okay, the rest of you are brilliant too, but I'm going to just speak right now to superhero movies. The muted action and the grounded music is what makes that a masterpiece of a trailer. The choice of literally eliminating all of the noise of the film and having only, except for the line about pick which side you're on, right? That, and then the Mission Impossible theme, slow build to that, is brilliant. Whoever made that artistic choice, the director of the trailer, maybe it was the director of the film, but sometimes the trailers are made by trailer houses in-house. Obviously, I would imagine Paramount has a whole trailer group. So does Warner Brothers has the best trailer group. But I'll tell you what, this works because of what you just said. It is the muted action, the fact that it's almost like, wait, did they forget to add the audio? Like, remember that horrendous IMAX Mummy trailer? If you haven't watched that, watch that. Where literally all you had were the voices and there was nothing else. You just hear people screaming. That is one of the funniest trailers ever where they screwed up the audio. The muted action / film sound, the nat sound from the film that's out in the score is perfection. It's a masterpiece of a trailer. I 100% agree with you, and I was thinking about it on the way up. I love that you think that way. Jennifer, thank you for joining us here. I'm glad that you love Midnight Movie Talk, and we're here. By the way, I'm going to start a little bit early. Look, listen, I'm going to push this, assuming I'm not in a movie. We're going to push this just a little bit forward, like about 8:50 my time. That would be 11:50 East Coast time. We'll still be on at midnight, but just get people, some of you, I know you stay up late. I really appreciate that. If you're out on the West Coast, you're fine. It's only 9:30 right now, but the rest of you, it's like 12:35. Thank you for watching, Jennifer. Welcome to the channel. Really appreciate it. And again, this is all about just being truthful. Ultimately, that's all I try to do here is, and I hope you guys know that. You can tell I don't have an agenda. I don't ever want to have an agenda. I just want to be as open and honest as I can be about films and frankly anything. We just talked about something that had nothing to do with films. It was about broader issues. I'm totally down for that. JT again, after the Black Phone twice, I'm reading the book now, much different from the film. I imagine it is. Maybe I should. I might like the book more. I like the Black Phone a lot. Okay. But again, the more I think about that film, it's not scary. Okay. I don't think Ethan Hawke's perfect for the film. I love the direction of Scott Derrickson. I love the setting of that 1978 and the feel of that film is right in my wheelhouse because I'm a Gen Xer. Okay. And that film is going to work for Gen Xers like Scott Derrickson is. And I think Cargill is as well. And it's perfect. The setting of that film is just wonderful for me. Superhero movies again. Where's Thor 4 for you? Thor 4 is way up there. Thor 4 is so far up the ladder. For me, it's just it's great. You're gonna love the film. I can't wait for you guys to see it. It's so good. It really is. And anyone who says it's not good, like my friend Scott Menzel, Hollywood Critics Association, I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like he's like, the tone. I'm like, yeah, there's multiple tones in the film, but I think that Taika manages the tone of that film very well. Conversely, when I watched The Forgiven last night, the tone, it was a shit show because you can't do what have the skill set. The director didn't have the skill set to pull off the film, and I've seen that often. It doesn't. It happens. It happens. It's unfortunate, but not everybody can do everything. There's, not the best directors aren't always the best writers. Writers aren't always the best directors. It's rare to get the combination of both. And I think that we have a problem there. If you think you can do it all, maybe you can't. Just maybe you can. Taxi Driver, Trey, good evening again. Taxi Driver, Goodfellas, Taxi Driver, because first of all, it predates Goodfellas. Second of all, I mean, it's bonkers, okay? And also, I'm going to let you in a little tidbits I haven't said before. Jodie Foster works out at my gym, so I feel like I have to say Taxi Driver. By the way, Jodie Foster, she's got to be, 60? She busts her ass at the gym. Like, I love telling, these are the funny stories. These are the great stories I love telling you guys. I go to the gym and I go, she had a mask on initially and I didn't know who it was. Then the mask came off at the gym and I looked like, oh my God, that is Jodie Foster at the gym. And she is busting her ass. Okay. Like I said, she's got to be close to 60. She works as hard as someone in her 20s. So I have to say Taxi Driver because Jodie Foster works out at my gym. There's your little insight there. I've never tweeted or said to anyone tonight, Jodie Foster. I'm not going to say where I work out, although I think I've posted before. Only this or good evening to you. I don't know if Thor 4 can have legs. Listen, no. Here's the thing. Thor 4 will have legs. First of all, Paws of Fury ain't going to do anything to it. Nope is you got plenty of time before Nope. It's what, the 23rd? It's like 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now. Listen, Thor is going to have legs because it's going to have a very strong cinema score. Remember, cinema score, the number one thing it indicates is legs. How well will this film continue on in the weeks and weeks? And when you talk about that, you have to look no further than Top Gun Maverick at A+. And look what's happening with the legs. Down, 10%, 15%, 20, and now back to 14. It's insane. The holds are otherworldly because of the A+ cinema score, which means people love the film. So Thor will get an A cinema score, no lower. Not an A-, certainly not a B+. Remember, Doctor Strange B+. That's why the legs weren't as strong. This is where Thor gets an A, and then it pushes. So I think right now you're looking at a film that is going to do very well in the holds. Don't worry about Paws of Fury. And Nope, I can't wait. I really don't know. Nope is either going to be amazing or it's going to be very mid. That's all I got for that film. It's either going to be unbelievable or like, eh. Alan Ing, it's guaranteed COVID money from the government. The demand is artificial and we're paying for it. Alan, thank you for just being honest. Listen, I'm all about hearing all kinds of things. You got to remember that's another part of this, okay? I know you guys are here for Midnight Movie Talk. We're talking about real things too. And COVID does affect, obviously, movies, okay? And I think that there's absolutely an element of that too, Alan. No question that there's that too. There's all kinds of things in play. I mean, it's too much. It's just too much. Let's just stop talking about it, okay? No more. We can talk about it here, but you know what I mean? In general, I don't want to be bombarded. Like, first thing on my phone, wake up an alert and say, COVID cases are rising. I'm like, fuck, really? I just saw Black Adam trailer. It looks okay. I agree. It's not great. I think it's okay. It still seems like it was a rock movie. The DCEU will ever get to the MCU. We're going to find out. I mean, listen, I don't think the trailer is the best trailer. I don't love the end of the trailer, grabs the rocket and then you see the hand. I feel like there's a better ending in the trailer. I'm not sure I would have stuck the landing with that. I think the effects look really strong for Black Adam. I think DC's got the effects thing down. Sometimes I watch Marvel movies and I go, I don't know about these effects. Like there's times even in Thor 4, Love and Thunder, where you say, it's okay. And I think that DC actually has stronger vis effects than Marvel. We'll see what happens here with Black Adam. It's in October. There'll be a little bit of a break, and then we obviously get Black Panther. It's in a good spot, although I really wish it was up in August. We've got nothing in August. I mean, when we do Midnight Movie Talk in August, we're going to be talking about other things than movies because it is a wasteland of product. August always is, but this year in particular, I watched the trailers for August. I was, stuck through the Unforgiven for watching that. And I'm just like, these are not great movies. Like August is going to be really low, and then we're going to get all these stories again. Just wait. THR, Variety, Deadline. No one's going to movies anymore. I'm like, well, of course they're not. Would you go to a restaurant if the only thing they had on the menu was cabbage? Oh, we also have some turnips and lima beans. Come to the restaurant. You're not going to go, okay? And you're not going to go see a movie with some of these trailers I'm seeing for August. So whatever happens in August, forget it. You still have to have compelling product to make people want to come to a movie theater. It's got to happen. You can't just give them garbage. Like August is going to be one of the worst months. You just wait. It's going to be like this really low number. And again, all the articles are going to say, well, I don't know. It's like no one's going to movies. David, again, how the hell does a movie like Lightyear cost $200 million to make? It's all just the cost of marketing and advertising. It seems like it should be like 50, 80 million tops to make an animated film like that. Let me tell you where I think it comes from, honestly. I really believe it comes to, remember this, Chris Evans got paid a lot of money for that movie. He did. He commands a high salary. So I'm not saying that was all the 200 million, but I'm telling you what, I'll bet you it was to voice it. I would just throw a number out there and say 15 million to voice it. Remember, it was Eddie Murphy, I think Chris Rock, both of them said voicing animating films is the easiest paycheck you'll ever get. You just show up, put a mic in here in front of your face, you just do your lines, and then you walk out. It's like the old Simpsons thing where Krusty the Clown comes in and he just rips through the lines on his cards and he jumps in the limo. And then the guy's like, we're rolling, and Krusty's gone. The limo's like history. They never recorded. That's how animated films go. You just come in and just like read through the lines, goodbye, see you, and here's your 10, 15, $20 million payday. But obviously there's more than just his salary, but something is really off when you look at a $200 million Lightyear movie. $200 million for Lightyear? Wow. Okay. Bullet Train is the one movie that is out next month that is a big August release. And Sony's been pushing that. They did in the NBA Finals. That is the biggest film of August. That said, Bullet Train's not a $100 million opening film. It might be 50, maybe. We'll see. It's got Brad Pitt. It's got Brian Tyree Henry, who I think is amazing. Not a box office draw, but he's a great actor. But Brad Pitt, I think you can open it at 50, not 100. But again, we're not talking about massive numbers like even Minions this weekend at 108, 4-day 130. You're looking at something that's going to be much lower. And again, here come the articles. Are people going to go to the movie theater? Like, how do you in good conscience write an article, especially when we get to August and we have the dog days of August and there's a bunch of garbage and people start writing like, oh, nobody's going to movies. I'm like, look at what's there. How do you do that? You've got to be honest with the people who read you or the people that listen to you. You got to say, well, of course they're not there because there's nothing that is compelling to make the average person come to the multiplex. What's a movie that has gotten everyone back into the movies? Top Gun Maverick, because it appeals to everyone. I said it here weeks and weeks and weeks ago now when I first saw the film. Opening night, well, I saw it the week before, but opening night, there was a 5-year-old girl and an 85-year-old woman. And I go, here we go. You've got the whole spectrum of ages in this film on opening night. That means it's going to do an insane number. We said it here, and it happened because my batting average is 997. I don't even know what the point. Oh, someone tell me what I missed on. I think I might even be closer to 998 batting average here, calling things. Gavin, you said that you found Jojo Rabbit overrated. Yes. I don't think that the emotion of the film, even when Scarlett obviously does what she does, I think at that moment I'm just like, I wanted to feel more. I think it's a tonal issue for me too. It's got the comedy and the very dark things. I'm not sure that Taika quite dials that in. That said, with Thor: Love and Thunder, Thor: Love and Thunder is a better film than Jojo Rabbit for me. Personally, I have it rated higher. I think it's the tone. There is jarring tone change, but I think that he still managed to make it symphonically come together and to work. And I'm telling you, your levels of Thor: Love and Thunder is going to be good to great, not good to mid to low. It's going to go good up. So you're talking about a baseline and then higher. That is where Thor: Love and Thunder is. And I'm really surprised that other people are seeing this film the way they are. There are certain people out there that I have seen, and they saw the same film. They're like, it's incredibly fun. What a just getaway escapism, really, and it has moments of true emotional heft. But it also is funny as hell. And I think that that is really and just entertaining. It's such a broad word, right? What is entertaining? But that is Thor: Love and Thunder. It is across the board a hell of a fun time. And that said, that's why it's going to get an A cinema score. But yeah, I have it higher than Jojo Rabbit. Higher. Oscar question: can CGI animated movie be nominated for best visual effects? Yes, I believe so. In fact, Soul was there. There's some others. I've got I don't know what the exact criteria. It's a little bit weird. There's got to be something about it because you can't just have all these CGI animated movies in visual effects. Visual effects for me, as far as Oscars, are what occurs, when you add in when it's live action. So you're talking about obviously Thor: Love and Thunder, Doctor Strange. I would never nominate Doctor Strange. You're talking about even Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun Maverick has plenty of visual effects in it. You just don't see them. They're masked. They're perfectly done. Like I think even remember when what's his name steps out and the plane's taking off, the bomber at the very beginning of the thing, and it soars over his car and everything shakes. That is 100% visual effects. Okay, they didn't actually fly a B-2 or whatever that hell bomber, that giant plane is. They didn't fly that over the car and get it perfectly. No, that's all effects, everything moving, and it looks just perfect because the visual effects are so solid in that actual scene. I think I've told you guys this story about visual effects. So, okay, you guys remember Roma, which, by the way, Roma is, there it is. See it? There it is. Wrong way. Yeah, there it is. Roma, right back in the middle. Roma, back in 2018, right? So I'm at an awards party for Roma. This is a story I've told before. I'm telling you guys, this is the inside information you'll never get anywhere else. And I'm there, and I'm talking to somebody who's familiar with Roma, and they tell me that film is full of visual effects, like literally like the entire thing. And a certain someone, I won't say who it is because I don't want to give away, get the person in trouble, showed me the difference between the movie without visual effects and then the visual effects, like the real of the difference between when you add it. And it was skeletal. A lot of the stuff in Roma, which you probably did not know, like the opening scene with the water, if you've seen Roma, you guys know what I'm talking about. And then finally you get the airplane that comes through, all CGI. All of it is digital effects. That goes to show you that a lot of times you don't even know you're watching visual effects. They're so good. And by the way, Netflix did not push Roma for visual effects. They didn't want people to know that. So remember that. Even like Top Gun Maverick, they might be like, oh, no, nothing in there was a visual effect. It was all very real. Like, no, I'm sorry. Those are visual effects. They're just very strong visual effects. All right, we got about 5 minutes, and then we're going to pull the plug here, and we'll be back here on Tuesday with the top 10 of 2022. What's going to take for Warner Brothers to stop with these headless Superman cameos that are continuing? Oh, I'm so dumb. Is that what's happening here? I'm really done. That was one of the reasons I did not like Shazam as much as a lot of you. That alone was like, why did we just pay Henry Cavill his money? Like, I don't care what it costs. You need to have him be in Shazam. Even if he didn't want to do it, I'd say, well, Henry, how about this? How about we throw in another $1 million? Like, literally, come in. We will put you in the suit, and you will be in frame for, I'm not kidding, we'll get you in and out of there in an hour and a half max. Okay, because you know how short the scene was. You got to have him in there. I don't like the headless thing. I'm 100%. It's cheap. It cheapens the film. Gavin, Oscar question. We already did that. Here we go. JT. I'm only seeing 2 movies in August. Everything else on streaming. There's not a lot to see. I mean, I don't plan to go to a lot of screenings. I'll probably see them when they come out on Thursday. None of these films are big except for Bullet Train. That's the one film in August that really matters. The rest of them are completely forgettable, very small films. And again, being August, we're not even talking about awards films. They're going to be, it's a dumping ground. So none of them are going to rise to the level of noteworthy in regards to awards. So really, what's the point? August is just literally maybe just shut down. It'll be our hiatus month on Midnight Movie Talk. I mean, we're not going to be able to talk about movies because there's nothing. We'll have to go back and talk about old classics. Classic night. I'll leave you again. Pixar and Disney Animation Studios films cost a lot because of the research and development. Reallocate that to the general fund for them versus towards the film. I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know what the research and development is. I mean, it's just like you should be able to tell. There's almost too much. I think that's why I would never exist very well in like a corporate structure, because there's going to be all these. We did all this research and development. Like, you don't need to. I can help you out. I'm not kidding you guys when I say this. If you show me a rough cut of a film or a test screening of a film, 99% of the time, I'm going to be able to identify what's wrong with the film, okay, and or what's right, and what you should remove slash add slash leave alone, okay. These are all things after seeing lots of films. Like last night watching The Forgiven, I would say there's a way to make that film better by literally cutting out so much. I mean, I'm talking taking a major edit, just hatchet job to that film. Cut, and knock that thing from, like, I think it was almost 2 hours, knock it to 135 and tighten it up and get rid of some of the tone issues. There's a lot to do there, but I don't know what the hell Vertical Entertainment did buying that film in the first place. If I was sitting in Toronto where that film debuted, The Forgiven, you guys got to see it this week. You really do. You need to, because it is, when you watch it, it is consider it like out of school, like it's homework assignment. You're going to watch a film that tonally is a shit show and cannot be saved by a director who doesn't have the ability to pull it together. Um, this is why I don't, by the way, do a lot of Q&As with directors, because if they said, "Hey, you have the director of the Forgiven coming up, can you ask him some questions?" I would probably go off, and then the screen would go blank. They'd be like, Where'd he go? Oh, that's right, because I was asking legitimate questions like, "What were you doing when you made this film? Like, what was the thought process of the choices you made?" In fact, it'd be really hard to say, like, what would be the best, nicest way to say that your movie's terrible? What were the choices when you were going through that and in your head to get this film to where it was? In other words, like, you weren't able to get what you had on the page into the actual film. You go watch The Forgiven. Homework assignment. We're 2 minute, not 1 minute warning here. Homework assignment. You have to go see The Forgiven at AMC or Regal. It is there right now for the next few days, tomorrow and July 4th. What better way to celebrate this country's independence than to go see the worst film of 2022, The Forgiven? Please do that for me. Please. I would be so appreciative, and we will go off on that film on Tuesday night here, where I reveal our top 10 films of the year. And by the way, The Forgiven is not on that. By the way, I forgot to mention tonight's kid is Western Sydney from the A-League in Australia. Guys, that's going to do it for Sunday night here on Midnight Movie Talk. As always, major props to all of you. I appreciate you watching. Please hammer the like button, and I'll see you back here on Tuesday. That's a nighty night from MMT. Good evening.